Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I was having computers issues. Good morning, everyone. It's 2:02, so we're going to start the meeting. Dawn, could you do the roll call, please?
Yes, of course. Jerry Abrahams,
Here.
Cindy Butts,
Here.
Wendy Clark, Phil DeFranco,
Here.
Heidi DeWeingart,
Here.
Claudio Gualtieri, Timothy Hodges, Catherine McKinnon,
Here.
Commissioner Mascaro Bruno,
Here.
Commissioner Perez. I see, just for the record, Commissioner Perez is unable to speak today and will be communicating through the chat. I'll keep an eye on that. And just for the record, he has indicated that he is present in the chat. Franklin Perry,
Here.
Matt Puglisi,
Here.
Chelsea Ross, Sarah Sanders,
Here.
Lisa Tepper Bates, Greg Ugalde.
Here.
We do have a quorum in attendance for the meeting.
Thank you, Dawn. Could you do the public comments, please?
Of course. This is the only opportunity on the agenda for the public to provide comments. If you would like to provide a comment, please unmute yourself and state your name, or if you're in the boardroom, please make yourself known. To ensure that everyone has the opportunity, comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Hearing no comments, the public comment period has now ended. Commissioner, I'll turn the meeting back to you.
Thank you, Dawn. Nandini, could you
Yes.
proceed with the Executive Director's report?
Great. Good morning. Happy Halloween. Interestingly enough, it's also the Indian festival of Diwali, which is the festival of lights. So it's sort of an interesting contrast to Halloween, which maybe is about darkness, but perhaps they're more similar than different. But I want to start off with a couple pieces of great news. First of all, we had a good contingent of staff, and Greg joined us at the last, the annual conference of the National Council of State Housing Agencies, which was held in Phoenix this year, and in September. And there's a much coveted award ceremony where the housing finance agencies across 50 states will submit their initiatives and other things that, there's a wide array of sort of award recognition possibilities. And this, CHFA does generally make some pretty compelling submissions. We do great work. We know that some of it is subjective and it's, but I'm happy to say that we did bring home an award, and it was in the category called Management Innovation, Human Resources subcategory, and the initiative is called Study Hall Lifelong Learning at Work. And very briefly, we heard a lot of feedback from employees, especially right after COVID and, moving into like a hybrid environment, that the people are feeling disconnected. They're, wanting more engagement. And so we wanted to see how we could create something that went beyond just hanging out with each other. And so we wanted to create something where people could learn, maybe share some ideas and do it in a structured way, but that felt safe to have diverse opinions. And so we created this thing where on a monthly basis, staff come together, and the Vegas rules apply, meaning whatever's said in the room stays in the room. And there's a bunch of other sort of rules of the road. And we share podcasts, readings, books, and we discuss them. And we've brought topics about housing in the 20th century and various other sort of pertinent subjects for our industry. And we've seen incredible reception from the staff. So one of the sort of key hallmarks of a winning program is that it has to be replicable, it has to be innovative, and it has to be impactful. So I guess we checked all those 3 boxes, so very happy about that. The second thing, a piece of great news, is that as you know, we applied for capital magnet funds, which is a fund that was created by the Housing and Economic and Recovery Act of 2008. And the CDFI fund, which is funded through the GSC's excess revenues. Each year they have, several hundred million that they distribute to nonprofits and CDFIs for affordable housing and community development. And our award is relatively small compared to some of the other awards. It's $2 million, but we are matching it with an additional $2 million from CHFA's own opportunity funds. And so that $4 million fund is going to be used to really help create more affordable units, especially on the very low income side. They tend to be very expensive. The capital stacks are extremely layered. And so we believe this is going to be an important resource for us going into 2025. We're hoping to commit the money very quickly. We already have certain transactions penciled in. And so once we commit the funds, we're hoping to go back and ask for additional resources. So that was the second piece of good news. Last week, DOH and CHFA hosted our 2nd annual housing conference, and it was very well attended. A diversity of participants from for-profits to nonprofits, electeds, housing authorities, and CHFA staff moderated or participated in 2 sessions, one around the difficulty of creating financing new affordable rental developments. And we heard from some different practitioners, and it was very well received. And then on the other side, we had a panel on homeownership opportunities. And so there were about 320 or so people, and the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. So just wanted to put that out there. And then finally, we've been talking, I'm hoping that we'll see many of you at the retreat in November. We're expecting to have it right after our board meeting. Because we've only had one this year, we're gonna keep it basically focused on where we are today at the end of the year. What does it look like? What have we accomplished? And then we'll do kind of a forward-looking outlook and some issues that we believe the board should weigh in on. And we're hoping to bring to you a speaker, perhaps, that can provide certain external inputs for your consideration and information. So that is happening. I'm developing an agenda right now, and we'll be sharing it in the coming days. And it's going to be right after the board meeting. So we're expecting to start around 11 a.m. and go to maybe 2 or 2:30. Hoping to see you all here at CHFA, and happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Anthony. Any questions? Comments? Congratulations to the team for the award. We want more awards.
I have a comment.
Yes, Phil.
I just want to say what you guys are doing with the social media, and it's great. I mean, whoever's doing that internally for you guys, it's getting out the message. I mean, I'm on the front line, so to speak, and I get people who say, "Oh, I saw such and such on, and do you know somebody that does Time to Own?" So like, whoever's doing your social media internally, give them a high five, because it's working. So
thank you. We appreciate that. We have a great group internally. It's called the Research, Marketing, and Outreach Group. And you're right, we've definitely elevated our social media and other marketing, sort of activities You may have noticed we have our new logo up on many of our board, or most all of our board materials today, and we did a lot of exposure around our rebrand, so happy about that as well.
Hey, Nandini, on the
Yes.
CMF funds, are we gonna do grants, or will that be like soft debt, like low interest soft debt, or some combination, or?
I think it's mostly gonna be low interest soft debt. Not sure we need grants because grants actually don't generate basis.
Okay, got it. All right, so like 1%,
Yeah,
No,
it's
solid.
pretty soft, yeah.
CMF is great.
It is, we
Program.
want more.
We're gonna ask for more.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
that's,
spend it quickly. They want, the commitment time is not long and they want you to commit all of it before, or at least it seems that way.
we should be able to do that. That shouldn't be,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
shouldn't be hard to do.
Yeah.
It's very, it's limited, it's for specific properties in specific areas with
Yeah.
specific characteristics, so, but we've identified a bunch of those already, and our intent, we've got a long-term strategy with CMF, which is get this deployed really quickly, and then up
And
our
ask, and then ask
ask for more next year.
perform. Is this the first time we've got a CMF award?
No, we got one in 2020.
Oh, okay, but, you know, you can get them every year.
You can, that's our
Our
hope and
CFI gets them
our
every year.
goal, I should
Yeah.
say. So,
Thank you. Any other comment? All right. Thank you, Nandini. Dawn, can I have the agenda back on the screen? Thank you. So Finance Committee, no action items, and Mortgage Committee, Pat, could you go ahead with the resolution?
Sure thing. Good morning, everybody. At Tuesday's Mortgage Committee meeting, Trayvon Perry presented a request for a $4.3 million increase in taxable bond proceeds for the construction of perm loan for Westridge in New Haven. In June, the board approved the request for a $12.7 million construction of perm loan. So this increase will result in a $17 million construction of perm loan balance. There are no other changes to the interest rates or terms proposed. This increase is not going to affect the final perm loan balance of $8 million, as the developer was able to secure the additional credit equity necessary to pay the construction loan down to the perm balance that was approved previously back in June. In addition, Trayvon requested a return of the existing credits and the exchange of those credits for an award from the 2025 credit ceiling. This is necessary due to the delays that the project has experienced, and this will allow the developer to meet its placed in service deadlines. As we've previously discussed, the return in exchange does not reduce or otherwise adversely impact the amount of credits that we have available. Members of the Mortgage Committee voted unanimously to approve both requests. I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Pat. May I have a motion to approve the resolution presented by Pat?
So moved.
You have a second?
Second, Heidi.
Any comments or questions?
I just had a,
Yes, Phil?
so that additional 4 is added to the total construction cost, and that came in at the 33 million.
It's not a full request of, I'm sorry, it's not a full increase of 4.3. This is a result of an increase in the raise on the property, on the credit equity, and what the credit equity provider has done is back-ended their contribution, so it's created a $4.3 million gap in the construction portion of the debt. So what'll happen is our debt will come in, and the credit equity, which was originally meant to come in during construction, is going to come in more at the end of construction, and it'll pay our construction loan down to the $8 million balance.
That's great.
Excellent.
But there was no income cost because of this?
Yeah, there was, it wasn't commensurate though, is what I'm saying. It wasn't a $4.3 million. The $4.3 million is a combination of increase in costs and the delay in terms of the credit equity coming into the deal.
Okay, but am I correct in saying that there's 65 units on the property? Is it 65 units total?
Yes, that's correct.
And what was the previous, prior to this, what was the previous amount that was, because if you increase, I mean, I know it wasn't commensurate, but like, I'm just saying like 65 units for 33 million. I keep saying this, but it's like, holy cow. That's, you know, what, close to 500,000 a unit? I'm just,
Right, but it's a little more nuanced than that, Phil, because you've got the credit equity. We're essentially, what's happening here is the credit equity is getting delayed and we're supplanting that equity with additional construction debt.
okay,
So
but
there's
what
a-
was the total increase in costs that we're finding, that the construction piece is financing?
It's minimal. I mean, it's still
Like-
33 something million is total.
So the
It
total,
really has to do with the timing.
right, okay,
Yeah.
so the additional increase was minimal, Phil, and
Okay.
most of this additional construction financing is just to replace the equity, which would have come in sooner. They back-ended the equity so that they got a higher raise. So
Okay.
in terms of total cost, it's not changing much.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I'm sorry?
Want me to explain the timing?
No, that's okay.
But still at 33 million, it's still
It
half
is
a million
33
bucks a
million.
unit.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
and not, that was what we
It's true.
originally approved.
Right, yes,
It
it's not,
doesn't change that.
it's not unusual for what we're
Yeah.
seeing in the market right now.
Any other comment or question?
30, 40, or 40 bucks a square foot, basically.
Dawn, can you do the roll call, please?
Yes. Jerry Abrahams,
Aye.
Cindy Butts,
Yes.
Wendy Clark, Phil DeFranzo,
Yes.
Heidi DeWeingart,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri,
Yes.
Timothy Hodges,
Yes.
Catherine McKinnon,
Aye.
thank you. Commissioner Mosquera Bruno,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez. Just for the record, Commissioner Perez has typed into the chat, yes. Franklin Perry,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi,
Yes.
Chelsea Ross, Sarah Sanders.
Yes.
Lisa Tupper Bates, Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
The vote passes unanimously.
Thank you, Dawn. Motion carries. So next, Hazin, you're gonna present the 2025 draft budget and plan for operations.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. As required by our finance procedures, we are sharing with you a draft of the 2025 annual budget. We plan to present the final version at the November board meeting or on November 21. For our budget, we are using a zero-based approach, which means we will reset and start the new year at zero. We group all operating budget line items into 3 categories to help track cost drivers. The main drivers are salaries and benefits, general and administrative for ongoing expenses, general and administrative for capital expenses. In addition to the operating budget, we also included information on our lending and borrowing. This is important because we cannot pay for our budget unless we can demonstrate a sustainable cross-spending revenues. For the board's benefit, we included year-over-year variance and explanation. Before we get into the 2025 budget, we would like to share a few year-to-date highlights, which are through September 30th. CHFA has raised 812 million in proceeds, 624 million for homeownership, and 188 million for multifamily. Last year, we issued 325 million. We also had utilized 237 million in volume cap and sold 375 million in taxable. Last year, CHFA only used 130 million in volume cap for the same time period. CHFA also has purchased 2,947 first-time homebuyer loans, or 823 loans more than 2023, of which 1,581 buyers received DAP, and 2,214 buyers received TTO. CHFA also has purchased 4 mobile home loans. 3 were for acquisitions and 1 was for refinancing, and assisted 25 homeowners under EMAP. CHFA has funded 5 new multifamily projects. 4 were tax exempt, 1 was taxable. Additionally, CHFA funded 1 tax exempt mortgage loan increase and forward committed 3 taxable loans. Finally, CHFA has closed 11 built for CT loans and funded 16 small multifamily loans through CDFI. For calendar year 2025, we expect to manage about 1.3 billion in proceeds and awards. Please keep in mind the numbers are draft. With regard to our net earnings and in accordance to a prior resolution, we are recommending a transfer of 75% to the Opportunity Fund and 25% to the ITA. To support the momentum and the continued growth in CHFA programs, we are proposing a budget totaling 50.3 million, which consists of the following: 32.4 million for salaries and benefits, 12.9 million for general and administrative ongoing expenses, and 5 million for general administrative for capital expenses. Salaries and benefits retain the full-time employees assumption of 145 with a provision to allow us to grow to 148 so long as it does not, it will still satisfy and meet the condition pertaining to the approved budget. And the amount for the assumption includes a 6% set aside for COLA and merit. Due to a lower fringe rate, the budget for this category is half of 1% higher, or 163,000 more than the prior year budget. The budget for ongoing expenses is 453,000 higher than last year's assumption. However, a portion of the cost will be offset by reimbursement income. Lastly, the budget for capital expenses is 2 million more than in 2024. Based on the capital improvement plan and as indicated in 2023, we are requesting additional dollars to set aside for our building. As mentioned earlier, we plan to present the final version at the November meeting. After you have reviewed the package, feel free to forward any questions, comments you have to Nandini or myself, and I'll be happy to take any feedback you have at the moment.
Thank you, Hazin. Comments or questions? And Hazin, any board members that would like to reach out to you, that they have any comments or questions? This is the draft for us to be able to take a look at it. And then we could, there are any comments or questions, reach out to Hazin. And we will vote on this budget at the next board meeting, correct, Hazin?
Yes.
Okay. All right, hearing on, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion, Cindy.
Thank you,
Second,
Cindy.
Tim.
Thank you, Tim. Was that Tim?
Yes.
John, could you do roll call?
Yes. Jerry Abrahams,
Aye.
Cindy Butts,
Yes.
Wendy Clark, Phil DeFranco,
Yes.
Heidi DeWeingart,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri,
Yes.
Timothy Hodges,
Yes.
Catherine McKinnon,
Aye.
Commissioner Mosquero Bruno,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez. For the record, Commissioner Perez has typed yes into the chat. Franklin Perry,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi,
Yes.
Chelsea Ross, Sarah Sanders,
Yes.
Lisa Tepper Bates, Greg Ugalde.
Yes.
Vote passes unanimous.
Thank you. Motion carries. Before we adjourn, anybody has any comments or anything that want to bring to the attention of the board or the staff?
I'm like Mr. Positive today. Sorry
We
about
need
that.
Mr. Buster, Phil.
I don't know if it's in keeping with Halloween. I think it's supposed to be like dark. So I guess what he said. I just want to say two things. So like on the residential side, holy cow with the smart rate program. I mean, I don't know how much they've done, but it's like, it looks like they're almost running out of money. I like, what a great
Yeah.
idea. And the feedback on that, it's just for people who have school loans, it's so cool. And then the other thing I want to say is that, because I took a look at the 51.3% of lending to color, people of color. That's, I mean, I don't know how that compares to other states, but it's got to be amazing because other states have initiatives that specifically directed to people of color. And I just want to say, I think that makes me proud to be on the board to be when you see those statistics. And then my last thing was when you look at the percentage of market share per town, I don't know if you got that little one, but that's incredible, the penetration that CHFA is doing. So I won't
Thank
say
you.
I won't say anything else positive for the rest of the meeting. That's it.
Thank you, Phil.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Okay, I was just gonna say that, I'm glad you brought it up, because, on our at our retreat, we will probably be discussing, you know, sort of how we, you know, the results from Smart Rate, and then how we view, the success of the pilot, and how we might wanna, look at our initiatives going into next year, taking into account, you know, the presence of time to own and considering whether or not that may or may not, you know, depending on what the legislature approves and the governor approves, we'll have to consider that in our analysis as well. So just wanted to make that point, but I really appreciate your words and thank you very much.
Anybody else who wants to be nice to the staff? Thank you, Phil, and I agree. I mean, staff have been doing a great job in making sure that we are intentional about where we promote and continue promoting so that groups, minorities can have access to many of the programs that we have. So thank you for that. And thank you to the staff, great job. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Did you do that?
Sarah?
Did we do the agenda?
We did a consent agenda.
Okay, very good.
So can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Moved.
Have a second?
Second,
All those in favor say yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any no's?
Second in the chat. Looks like Dan Mitchell.
No.
All right, motions carry. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Happy Halloween.
Have a good day.
Yes, happy Halloween.